Well, I'm afraid I got quite carried away with the Greek this week because Luke is just a great grammatician. I mean, his Greek is superb. And even when he's conveying things that Mark has said, he puts it in a so much more advanced Greek way. So I'm doing 6 through 11 today. I'll try to move quickly, but a little bit Greek for the week. Egeneto de en hetero sabato, eselthein auton. Okay, egeneto, it came to pass. And it came to pass in those days. It happened. This is aorist because of gen, augment on the front, third singular, it. And it happened, and this is a procrastinator, and it happened on a different Sabbath, him to enter in to the synagogue, into, ace elthon, ace tain, synagogain. Okay, so this is an infinitive. 6 out of 7 infinitives end in I. The other one is ain. So ain here and ain here, these are both infinitives, which means that's where the word to comes from. Leaps out of the infinitive. So elth is the aorist of erchomai. So this is from ace erchomai, to go into. It is a aorist active infinitive from ace erchomai. Okay, so it happened on the Sabbath, him to enter into the synagogue. The subject of the infinitive is in the accusative case. So him here is the subject, him to enter. It's caveman talk, him to enter into the synagogue and to teach. And by the way, this is aorist, which is kind of blah, it happened. But the present tense suggests that there's more meaning that Luke wants us to get, and to begin teaching, and to be teaching. There's more of a continual flavor here. It's on the Sabbath, so it's not like over several Sabbaths. It's on the same Sabbath, but it's the idea that he began to teach. We call that a inceptive imperfect. That's not right. Forget I said that. It's not an imperfect. It's an infinitive. Anyways, but it has a continuous flavor. And he was teaching. There could be, I can't remember if there is a begin to sense of the present tense. I don't think there is. Just ignore me. Continuous flavor. Okay, and to teach. And was a man there, imperfect of a me, and was a man there, and the hand of him, the right one, was dry or withered. It was a withered hand. Notice how flexible, because Greek flies by the endings rather than by the word order. You can put right, you can put it much later, and the Greeks know where it goes. Now, I might say that this is fancy talk. I suspect that simpler Greek speakers would not want to. Luke, you talk so fancy. Stop doing that. Anyway, so the hand of him, the Greek, the right hand of him was dry. Verse 7. And were watching. Always watching. Who were watching? Well, the scribes and the Pharisees were watching. And again, you can put the subject after the verb in Greek because the instruments tell you this is nominative, and therefore it's the subject. So this word here, paraterunto, is imperfect. It's a compound verb, paratereo, and the augment on a compound verb goes on the base word, not on the preposition on the front. So tereo, it's a contract verb. The is crashed into the ont, and when when epsilon and omicron crash, we get ooh. That was interesting. This is not a participle. You may have heard my stupid cliche. My aunt is an active participle, but onto is a third person plural genuine verb ending. The song is Amen ueto ametha este onto. So it's a genuine third person plural ending here. They were watching. Imperfect. I'm going to say middle. It's a middle ending. It's not passive. They weren't being watched. They were watching him. So you might say they themselves were watching Jesus, or I forget what one version put it. They were intently watching. There's a little bit of English on this, little spin on this one, because it's in the middle voice. There's a little extra meaning. They're watching. They themselves are watching. There's an intensity here. It's not just they watched. It's they're watching carefully. They themselves are watching. There's a heightened sense to this, the fact that it's middle. Otherwise, why put it in the middle? So, and who are watching? Why, the scribes and the Pharisees. Hoi grammates, kai hoi pharisaioi. The scribes and the Pharisees were watching if, conditional clause, on the Sabbath he is healing. Is he healing on the Sabbath? We're going to find out. So this is an if clause. We call it the protasis part of a condition, the if part. And an interesting choice of the word if here, because there are two words for if in Greek. There's the iffy if. If he gets here on time, we'll start. But this is the more, I'm assuming it's true. Still, it might be that there's a sense of there is a fourth class condition, a kind of would, if he would heal on the Sabbath. Although in that case, we would expect an optative here. So, are you healing on the Sabbath? Anyway, interesting choice of the word if there. Okay, so why are they watching him? In order that, Hina, purpose clause, they might find to accuse him, find something to accuse him of. Hina takes the subjunctive in the New Testament. Subjunctive is coming, and we're not disappointed. Hurosin is a subjunctive. We know because the vowel before the ending has been fried into a long vowel, an omega here. So it is in fact subjunctive. This is from heurisco. You'll notice the sco is missing, which suggests it's not present tense. It must be the aorist subjunctive. And sin is the third person plural, not sin as in I murdered someone. This is just an ending. It's nothing, no sin here of that sort. Third person plural, so it's they. So this is an aorist, active, subjunctive, third plural from heurisco. Okay, in order that they might find a reason, kategorein, autu, to accuse him. And the verb for accuse says, I'm not going to take my object in the accusative. I want a genitive for my object. And so fine, we'll give you a genitive. So kategoreo takes its object in the genitive case. Verse 8, and he himself, autos, when it's in the nominative case, intensifies the subject. It's not needed because the he is in the verb, a day. And he himself knew, this is from horao, it's irregular. It is it's a weird form. We say, you probably don't say this, but we grammar people say it is a pluperfect in form, but past tense in meaning or something like that. It is analyzed as a pluperfect or past perfect form. Who knew? But anyway, actually it's from oida. Forgive me, it's not from horao. They're related, but it's from oida. So it is, I was just testing you. It's the past perfect of oida. Oida is perfect in form, but present in meaning. And this is pluperfect in form and past in meaning. And he himself knew dialogismos auton. He knew their thoughts. Apende, and he said, aping an aorist, it's aorist active indicative third singular from lego, irregular. What did he say? He said to the man, the dry having the hand. Boy, Luke has outdone himself here. This is, the word order here is crazy. He said to the man having the dry hand. See how it's just, he's like leapfrogged here. The man having the dry hand. But we can handle it because we know our endings, right? This is accusative. Wow. Yes, this is accusative. This is accusative feminine singular. It goes with hand. This is accusative feminine singular. Ekanti is a participle. It's dative masculine singular. It goes with to andri, which is dative masculine singular. So by looking at the endings, I know that ekanti goes with andri, and that actually the to goes with ekanti too, because this is dative masculine singular. So it doesn't go with dry. So it's to the man, that is the having a dry hand man. You've heard of the rubber band man. This is the having the dry hand man. Anyway, the word order here is just Luke, what are you doing, Luke? Okay, rise, command, and stand. So agere is second singular. It is a present active imperative from agero. But steithi, I know steithi. I know steithi very well. Steithi is aorist. It's from histemi. but this is the aorist. We've lost the hi, and the the tells me it's aorist passive imperative. I'm sorry, yes, aorist passive imperative from histemi. Why is it passive? It's, well, I guess it more would have a sense of be standing. Be standing now, that kind of a thing. Rise and be standing, into the middle. So we're going to play, put him in the middle, where everybody can see what Jesus is about to do. And having risen, he stood. He listens to Jesus. This is also histemi, but this is the aorist. This is aorist passive also, but it's aorist passive indicative third singular from histemi. Anastas, this is Anastasia, resurrection. But I don't think it means resurrection. There could be overtones of the resurrection. Who knows? We'd have to debate it. But anistemi, this is a past participle, aorist passive participle, not passive, aorist active participle, nominative masculine singular, from anistemi, not an antihistamine, although those are helpful sometimes. Verse 9, and said Jesus, and Jesus said, aping and aorist again, Jesus is subject, he's nominative, he's the subject, we know, because we're flying by the instruments. He said to them, prosautus, eperoto hemas. I ask you, I'm asking you, this is a present active indicative first singular. I'm asking you from eperotao, it's a contract verb. The alpha and the omega has crashed, and we have a little police line circumflex there saying, nothing to see here. There's been an accident. Step back. Go home, everybody. Anyway, but with alphas and omegas win over everything, and so the omega wins. I am asking you if it is lawful on the Sabbath, another conditional clause, if it is lawful on the Sabbath to do good or to do evil. 2 infinitives, 6 out of 7 infinitives end in I, and it's aorist active infinitive. Agatho, good, poieo, agatho poieo, to do good. So, and then kako poieo, to do kaka, to do bad. Okay, is it lawful to do good or to do bad on the Sabbath? Soul to save or to destroy? Now, soul probably is not, try though you may, there is no human that can destroy a soul. Only God can throw the soul into Gehenna. And so life here is a better translation. Words can have more than one meaning, and I think life is the best translation here. Is it lawful to save life or to destroy life? So suke, sosai. Again, aorist active infinitive, aorist active infinitive. This is from apolumi. Remember the angel of destruction, named after the verb for to destroy. So apolisai, aorist active infinitive from apolumi. Verse 10, and looking around, so Jesus looks around, he knows they're watching him, he gives them the eye. So men are passive participles, although this is probably middle, I would say. Could be deponent, I'm not gonna look it up, but so psi is the key to a hidden sigma, so we have a hidden sigma alpha, it's aorist. So this is it is middle, because in the aorist, men, it's only middle in the aorist. So this is an aorist middle participle, nominative masculine singular from periblepo, to look around. Peri, perimeter, the round, periblepomos. Jesus looks around at them. He looks around at all them, pantatos, autus, apen auto, he said to him. Now, he looks around at the Pharisees and scribes, but he speaks to the man with the withered hand. He said to him, stretch out your hand. Another command, ektano. Let's see. Let me do my lusan. Okay, this is an aorist. I know because of the ending it's using. It would have an epsilon if it was present. So he just says, blah, stretch it out. So this is an aorist active imperative, second singular from ektano. Okay, stretch out the hand of you. And he did. The guy listens. This is aorist active indicative third singular from poieo. And it was restored. Apokathistemi. Apokathistemi. This is all, there's the sta of histemi hiding with a lot of stuff on the front. The augment is, well, it's a double augment. What's wrong with this verb? This verb got carried away. It only needed one augment, surely, but it's double augmented. So anyway, it's aorist passive because the theta eta. Apo apokathistemi, I think is what it is. So it's aorist passive indicative third singular from apokathistemi, was restored. We're getting close to the end. What was restored? The hand of him was restored. Yeah, that's what it is. And the hand was restored. And now we get to an interesting verse here, verse 11. And they themselves don't need autos in the nominative case here. It intensifies the they of the subject. They themselves, and they were full of rage. This is a genitive. They were full of rage that he was, how dare you do blatantly violate the Sabbath, they thought, in front of us. And they were they began to converse with one another, reflexive pronoun, alelus here. This is imperfect because dialaleo, all the letters of the present stem are there or crashed. The a is crashed into the on of the imperfect active indicative, third plural, from dialaleo. Augment on the present stem tells me it's imperfect. So they began to converse, inceptive imperfect. What they would do to Jesus. Optative. We don't see a lot of optatives in these parts, but Luke, he has optatives because he took advanced grammar. So what is the interrogative pronoun here? What, neuter? And then on is a little bomb and throws everything up in the air. It's an untranslatable particle, but it does have an effect. The would comes from the fact that this is optative and from the fact that it has a little bomb, what they would do to Jesus. Now, for my patrons, I did a much longer look through the Greek for my patrons this week on patreon.com. But I'll now tell you the rest of the story. I did look it up, Anna Geiser, and the new is third person plural. And of course, there are news that are third person plurals. On, esse, amen, eta, on. So there can be news. When I first looked at this, I thought, is that a movable nu? A nu with an epsilon in front of it is often a movable nu, but it's not a movable nu. This is a third person plural nu. And so that's where the they comes from. Sigma alpha has me thinking aorist, and it is aorist. And with the sigma alpha iota, the alpha iota here is the optative giveaway, and the epsilon is part of the package. So it's from poieo. This is aorist, active, optative, third plural from poieo, what they would do to Jesus. Well, sorry this went a little bit long, but I got a little bit, I got a little excited about Luke's Greek. So this has been the Greek for the week from Luke chapter 6.